Breaking news just a short time ago, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals asked both sides of the battle over President Trump's immigration order to submit briefs on whether the case should be reconsidered by a larger panel. Also this hour, President Trump said expect extreme vetting, and he warned Iran, be careful. This, of course, as we see these disturbing images from Iran today, celebrating the Iranian Revolution, hundreds of thousands of Iranians chanting death to America, death to Israel, and swearing their allegiance to their supreme leader. Of course, remember, Iran is one of the 7 countries included in President Trump's temporary travel order that was suspended last night. Joining me now to discuss, Seth Berenswig, Josh Blackman, Mark Serrano, and Sheriff Paul Babeu, former Sheriff Paul Babeu. Seth, let me start with you. A lot of news coming out, potentially a larger panel looking at this. President Trump just moments ago said they have a lot of other options, including writing a brand new order. How would you like to see this proceed?
Well, the way that I would like to see it proceed is for the administration to really get the hint from the determination that came from the Ninth Circuit panel. What happened in the panel decision that came out yesterday, they were basically saying there's really no determination in the record that they could glean to show that they have some kind of a compelling national security interest. Look, the government needs to get back to the core of the case. In my view, they need to go back to the district court. They need to get back to the next phase, which is called a preliminary injunction phase. And it's very simple. It's going to last about 2 weeks. They're going to go in. They'll make an evidentiary record, which is of a longer duration. The next ruling from that court will be in about 2 weeks, and that's going to be a major step where the administration can come in and say the basis of why this relates to national security and what's going on in these 7 nations of concern. That's critical. There'll be big news around the corner. But
here's the thing, though, Josh. We talked about this. The notion that this court has said that they're allowed to interject themselves in an area that was never the purview of the judicial system in the first place. So it's really tough, in my mind, to have the sort of faith and belief that you're going to get any kind of fair shake right now.
You're exactly right. This is not going to change the outcome. The fact that a single judge or maybe one or more judges asked for more briefing is little more than stall. This is actually, though, to the benefit of the Trump administration because it gives them an opportunity to regroup. Rather than having to run back to the judge in Seattle, they can now file more briefs and perhaps even consider redrafting the executive order. So this, what's called a sua sponte call for en banc, where one judge says, hey, let's take another look at it, actually goes to the benefit of the Trump administration in a big league way.
Sheriff, in the meantime, if you do have any sort of intentions about harming Americans and you're from one of these 7 countries, you know that your window of opportunity is open. And to what degree do you think, right at this very moment, the risk to American lives has increased?
Well, that's been expressed by the president, and that's why he took this action. And that's why we elected him as our president, to put our country, our national security first. We've seen what's happened not only in Europe, here at home. We want to safeguard the American people. This is a prudent measure for the president to take. I believe, as a lawman, clearly the judiciary overstepped. Yes, they have a check and balance against the executive. However, they overstepped in injecting themselves in the spot of the president to interpret, well, what's the degree of the national security threat? That's absurd. I think the president should forget these judges and draft, as what appears to be happening, a new executive order that is clean, that has the carve-out for the permanent aliens that have a green card.
Right. You know, Mark, also has been suggested that maybe it's time to go with Congress. Maybe it's time to get some new laws on the books and bypass this sort of this stumbling block, if you will. Even though obviously now President Trump knows how to draft the executive order where it probably won't get any pushback, it will be narrower in scope than they originally intended.
Well, Charles, look, there will be a role for Congress to play, but the Constitution is quite clear that foreign policy and immigration are under the purview of the administration. Charles, let's call this what it is, all right? These justices politicized our national security. Heaven forbid a so-called refugee comes into the United States and spills American blood on American soil, they will have blood on their hands. That's what is at risk, and that's what Donald Trump is fighting against. and he will continue to fight. That guy's going to have a phalanx of legal experts dealing with this issue with new executive orders, but also fighting this in court. So the politicization of our national security is outrageous, and that's exactly what's happening here.
Yeah.
And the alt-left of the Democrat Party fully endorses and fully supports that politicization.